Because Zeno, incredible breakdowns from Coach Phil, who coached many years in the NFL. And if people are really paying attention and props and all of that, it's going to be an interesting which guy, Puka, Davante, all that kind of stuff. So we'll start with the game itself, because right now that 8.5 has been a point of contention for a lot of people.
Yeah, let's just back up and quote my cousin Vinny and Joe Pesci. Everything that guy just said is bull spit, okay? After he put that Red Sox hat on. I just want to point right? You know, when he's talking to the judge, everything that guy said is BS. Okay.
I love that.
Sorry, Phil. Anyway, look, I mean, the number is getting out of control. It's not a number that I'm comfortable playing, especially when you look at the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay history. There was a time from 2018 on where the Niners won 6 straight, 9 of 10, until last year when they got swept, when they clearly were not the best version of themselves because everybody was hurt and Purdy was out and, everybody, they just weren't a real team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the situation that's here again. But my point is that McVay and Shanahan, the edge goes to Shanahan. He's had his number the entire time. And in an under game, a game that I believe goes under, it's hard for me to lay that number with that gap. I mean, here's another one for you. The Rams have not scored more than 27 against Kyle Shanahan since 2018. So if they're not scoring more than 27, that means, yes, could we limit the Niners here to 17? Absolutely they could. I think that's a world that exists, but the game stays under, and it's a tight window for me to fit it.
All right. That's a great start. And I think a lot of people look at it the same way that you do. Let's flip it over and we continue on. Let's throw the running backs up there, producer man. And DJ, I'm going to come to you as we break down this game, but also the use of CMC, as Phil just talked about, and what his numbers look like over at BetMGM. For the 49ers to cover, we know that he has to have a big game. And then several of us love Kyren to be a guy that we kind of back tonight as well.
Yeah, I look at Kyren Williams to be a guy that they lean on with the Rams, because you can throw it to Nakua as much as you want, but him having 50% of the receptions within their team each game is also on the other end of that. So because of that, I think Kyren gets hot, but also either they're going to ride CMC. They might use him to kind of like play off a little bit of what they're doing, because they have so many different guys. They don't know which direction they're going to go with because they don't have a numero uno. I think they kind of use a CMC as a guy who they kind of play off of a little bit.
And if that's the case, young Peyton, then unders, which is very hard to fade CMC, that might be the play tonight.
Yeah, it definitely is hard to fade him in the rushing yards, but he hasn't really broken out for that big run yet, and I don't like him doing that against the Rams defense, so I'm not touching his rush yards. But if you don't take his receiving yards, you're an idiot. He's had 92, 88, 52, and 73. They're clearly just trying to get him the ball in open space more often any way they can. Got to go over on McCaffrey's receiving yards today.
All right, speaking of receiving, let's flip it over. And if you want to comment on it, Brandon, feel free to. But Puka Nakua, love you. Puka Nakua is absolutely becoming a beast. 13 for 170 last week. They don't beat the Colts if Puka Nakua doesn't go out there and say, throw me the rock every single time that you see me. So now you've got Kendrick Bourne. We just had to find a name on the 49ers side because they have a bunch of guys that don't have a lot of big numbers. Your take here, Brandon.
Yeah, look, Puka Nakua is that guy now where the old adage, right? You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. That's Puka Nakua right now, right? And when you look at the other side of the ball with Kendrick Bourne, you're just hoping that they focus so much on Christian McCaffrey, you can get this guy in open space, because Kendrick Bourne's quick enough that if you're running a slant in the middle and you're not paying attention, he's going to take that thing to the house. He's shifty enough to make you miss tackles. They've still got weapons over in San Francisco, which is why I love the plus 8.5.
How high is too high, Zeno, when you're looking at receptions for shut up, get the dog? When you're talking to him, he's going to be like 7, 8, 9. Oh, it drives me insane. Zeno, when it comes to Puka, this guy, 13 a week ago, your thoughts on him?
I mean, Stafford's always been good at spreading the ball around, but in the same respect, there was a year with Cooper Kupp where he couldn't stay away from him, right? And it's kind of, what happens in the Sean McVay system is they create opportunities for certain players where they could see mismatches, and Puka continues to create that. I mean, I still would look at Davante Adams as my red zone guy. I'd still look at Davante Adams as my guy in short yardage situations, but if you're looking for space and chunks of yards, Puka's the guy that we're going to get the ball to.
What is too high for you, just in general, DG? Is 6.5, 7.5? Because we rarely have seen 8.5. Cooper Kupp was kind of the last guy to do that.
Yeah, you see 6.5 is a little too much, but you're talking about a guy, Puka Nakua. What I looked at his stats here, he's got 15 targets over the last 2 games each. Like, he's catching double-digit passes. There are games where he's become the possession receiver for them. And so because of that, I think 7.5 is still a good number. I would honestly just go ahead and go for a plus money play at 10 receptions in this, just to see if I'd play something on a smaller number.
It does feel that way. The only thing that scares me, and Peyton, I'll let you close this out for 20 seconds, is if they get a big lead. Because I know you like the Rams, that could take their passing back to Kyren Williams on the ground.
Yeah, the numbers Puka puts up are just ridiculous. You don't even have to mention them. It's been nuts. Just take the over on his receiving yards. He gets so many yards after the catch rather than taking his receptions. But Davante Adams has been in the end zone 3 straight games. Take him to get a touchdown tonight.